Erev Tov Rabotai, we're continuing with our Mishna Yomi, Masechet Pesachim. We're up to Perek Daled, Mishnah Daled. Today's Mishnah should be Leilun Nishmat, Neria ben Svetlana, Aranbayev, and Eliyahu ben Burcha Yisraelov, Menuchatam beGan Eden, Amen. This Mishnah discusses two more customs. The first custom developed as a result of the law that the Pesach offering, which is eaten on the first night of Pesach in Yerushalayim when the temple is standing, must be prepared by roasting it over a fire, as the Torah says in Sefer Shemot, chapter 12, Psukim 8 and 9, and the Rambam rules in Ilchot Maaser Korbanot, chapter 10, Halacha 5. The Mishnah begins, Makom shena'agu le'echol tzali b'lelei Pesachim ochlin, in a place where the people follow the custom to eat roasted meat at the Seder meal on Pesach night, one may eat it. Makom shena'agu shelo le'echol en ochlin, in a place where the people follow the custom not to eat roasted meat on Pesach night, because it gives the appearance of eating a Pesach offering outside of Yerushalayim, one may not eat it. Now, these communities felt that roasted meat on this night suggests a Pesach offering, and one who eats meat prepared this way at the Seder meal appears to be violating the prohibition of eating the Pesach offering outside of Yerushalayim. Now, in all places, however, it is forbidden to roast a young goat or lamb in the exact manner that the Pesach offering was roasted, which the Mishnah in chapter 7, Mishnah 1 says, on a spit with its knees and innards at its sides. A person's not allowed to do that and eat at the Seder meal, because this certainly gives the appearance of violating the prohibition of eating the Pesach offering outside of Yerushalayim, as the Mishnah says in Masechet Betzah, chapter 2, Mishnah 7. Now, one must abstain on Yom Kippur, the Mishnah moves on, from eating, drinking, washing oneself, anointing with oil, wearing shoes, and marital relations, as the Mishnah says in Masechet Yoma, chapter 8, Mishnah 1. The next section of the Mishnah discusses two opposing customs that developed in order to prevent marital relations from occurring. Makom shena'agu la'adlik et haner b'leilei Yom HaKippurim madlikin. In a place where the people follow the custom to light a lamp Erev Yom Kippur, to illuminate the house on Yom Kippur night, one should light a lamp. Again, lighting the lamp on Erev Yom Kippur to illuminate the house on Yom Kippur night, Madikin, one should light a lamp. Now, the presence of light will discourage marital relations, which is forbidden in an illuminated place. Now, in these communities, the commentators explain, the Mishnah Berurah writes in chapter 610, Sif Katan 2, that it is not sufficient to light a lamp in honor of Yom Kippur, as is done every Yom Tov. Rather, even the bedroom should be illuminated. However, Makom shena'agu shelo la'adlik, in a place where they follow the custom not to light a lamp, and Madikin, one may not light a lamp. Now, in these places, they felt that the absence of light will prevent marital relations, because one will not see his wife. Now, in these communities, a lamp is not lit anywhere in the house. An exception to the rule, Maran writes in Orach Chaim chapter 610 Halacha 1, is Yom Kippur, that falls on Shabbat, when a lamp must be lit in honor of Shabbat. The Mishnah continues, Umadlikin bebadei chenesiot uvatei midrashot uvamvoot ha'efelim. But in all places one may light a lamp in synagogues, in houses of study, in dark alleys, or in any place where husband and wife will not find themselves secluded, val gabei hacholim, as well as for the sick, because it is unlikely that this will lead to marital relations. And the Tiferet Yisrael writes that in fact, in these cases, since there is no concern for marital relations, it's a mitzvah to light lamps in honor of Yom Kippur. That is the end, Rabotai, of Mishnah Daled. Mishnah Hey now begins discussing customs that came out due to the law of Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av, we know the 9th of Av is a fast day in which we mourn the destruction of the temple. Although one may not perform work during the 7-day period of mourning over the death of a relative, the letter of the law permits working on Tisha B'Av. And the Meiri writes that the reason for this distinction is that the death of a relative is a recent event, but the destruction of the temple is an ancient event. The restrictions governing the mourning over a recent event are stricter than those governing the mourning of an ancient event. Now, the following Mishnah begins with the custom of some communities to nevertheless refrain from working. Makom shena'agu la'asod melacha b'Tisha B'Av osin. In a place where the people follow the custom to perform work on Tisha B'Av, one may perform work. Makom shena'agu shelo la'asod melacha. In a place where they follow the custom not to perform work on Tisha B'Av, so as not to be distracted from mourning over the temple, and osin, one may not perform work. Now, work that can be done in a short time and with little effort, such as lighting a candle or tying a knot, may be performed even in these communities, since such work will not distract from the Tisha B'Av mourning. The Rama speaks about in Orach Chaim, chapter 554, Halacha 22, regarding what work is classified in this situation. How do you define work? The Mishnah continues, Ubechol makom, and in all places, even where the custom is to work, Talmidei Chachamim Betilim, Torah scholars should remain idle on Tisha B'Av in order to stay focused on the Tisha B'Av morning. Torah scholars, the Miri writes, are expected to feel the loss of the temple more keenly than others. However, an ordinary person should not remain idle, for he would appear haughty if he were to abstain from work in a place where the custom is to work, as the Gemara writes on page 55a, since it would look to people as if he considered himself a Torah scholar. That would be an inappropriate thing to do. Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel says, Le'olam yaseh adam atzmo tamid chacham. In such matters, any person may conduct himself like a Torah scholar. One who does not work on the Shabbat will not appear haughty, he says, because people who see him not working will assume that there is nothing he needs to do and will not think that he's remaining idle on account of the Shabbat morning. Now, the first Mishnah of this chapter discussed the custom of some communities not to perform work on Erev Pesach before midday. That led to a discussion of several other customs. The Mishnah now returns to the subject of the first Mishnah. V'chachamim omrim, but the sages say, B'Yehuda hayu osin melacha b'arvei Pesachim ad chatzot. In Yehuda, they would perform work on Erev Pesach until midday. However, in Galil, they would not perform work at all, even before midday. Now, the Rav explains, the sages disagree with the Tana of the first Mishnah, who stated that working on Erev Pesach before midday is a matter of custom. In their opinion, the performance of work on Erev Pesach before midday is a matter of halacha, not local custom. In Yehuda, they held that one may perform work until midday. In Gilad, they held that work is rabbinically forbidden the entire day of Erev Pesach. Right? Not mikoach minhag, mikoach halacha. Now, according to the people of Galil, work is legally prohibited the entire day of Erev Pesach, and the Mishnah discusses when this prohibition begins. Va'alayla, concerning the performance of work on the night of the 14th of Nisan, Bet Shammai osrin, Bet Shammai forbid it because they treat it as a Yom Tov which begins at night. Ubet Hillel matirin ad netzach hama, but Bet Hillel permitted until sunrise of the 14th because they treat it like a fast day which begins in the morning. Now, although a fast day begins at daybreak, Arut Shachar, Bet Hillel do not prohibit labor until Netzach Hama, sunrise of Erev Pesach, because that is the earliest time a laborer generally leaves his home to go to work. And that is in Rabotai of today's Mishna Yomi. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen v'amen.